Okay, in this video, I will show you how to draw a graph. Okay, before that, one last thing is that what is a linear function? Linear function is something that shows you a constant rate of change. That means if I say if I say 1 egg costs you 50 cents, then 2 eggs should cost you $1. There shouldn't be any discount, or you shouldn't charge more. And this scale will just be consistent if you buy 100 egg, 1,000 egg. So if that's the case, then we'll call it a constant rate of change. And if you plot the graph of how much you need to pay, if you buy a certain number of eggs, you will get a straight line. Okay, so that's what it means by a linear function. Now, let me just show you how to draw a graph. So to draw a graph, there are 5 steps. First, draw a table. Draw the plane with the appropriate scale. Plot the points. Connect them. And then after that, you need to label the axis and the equation of the line. So there are 5 parts to it that you need to do when you draw a graph. Now, take note, when you are drawing graph, you need to make sure that your graph is as centralized as possible, it is neat, and it's not cluttered up. The scale of the x-axis is determined by the possibility of fitting in the smallest and the largest number. So you need to make sure that your graph can fit all the values that you have and the corresponding y value as well. Now, example 1, using a scale of 2 cm to 1 unit for the horizontal x-axis and a suitable scale for the vertical y-axis. So this one you have to decide, whereas this one you have to follow. They tell you already 2 cm to 1 unit. However, is it really you decide? Actually, it's no. It depends on what values you get from the table. Okay, so first step is actually to form the table, but this is the table given to you already. For this example 1, I'm going to go through with you how you fill it up. Okay, so first you get the x value of -1. So I substitute -1 into this box. -1 minus 1 is what? Is -2. Second one, y equals to 0 minus 1. It is -1. So what I do is I take this equation and I take the value here and I put it into the x. Okay, so every equation, every different question will have a different equation, and you have to substitute it into a different stuff. Okay, so you follow what the equation given to you for that question is. Over here you get 0, and here you get 1. As for the last, you get 2. Okay, so now I'm done with the first step. I can find the table, okay, with the x and the y. Next, I need to draw it on a Cartesian plane using the appropriate scale. What is the appropriate scale? Okay, so just now, take a look at the y. I wrote the word you decide here, but is it really you decide? Answer is not really 100%. You have to make a decision, but the decision is based on what value you get. So look at our table. We have from -2 to 2. Okay, this is the smallest value, and this is the largest y value. So in our graph, we need to okay, the range here is also given. The x range is given to you. You follow also. So I want to make sure that when I draw -2 to 2 is not too small, not too big on the graph. Okay, so I don't really have a graph paper to show you drawing like that, so I have this graph paper here. On your graph, every big box is 2 cm. So can you go and use your ruler and then you go and measure? You will see that every big box is actually 2 cm. Okay? Okay. So now, I'm going to draw the graph and show you. So every 2 cm to 1 unit. Okay, so I'm going to write down here 2 cm to 1 unit. What about my y? Okay, I'm going to decide for my y later. So I will, okay, my graph paper actually not very big, so I need to be very careful. So assume that every box, big box here that I see is 2 cm. So here, you need to use ruler to draw. Find a suitable space. Best preferred is somewhere near the center of the graph. I will draw this line here, maybe. I'll draw a line along the thicker line, and the origin is 0. You label that first. So question wants our value to be from -1, 2, 3. So I need to go from -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So this is what I get. What about yours? Okay, you draw it on your graph. I don't need anything less. Don't go and give me -2, -3, or 4, 5, 6. No need, because the question only wants our graph to be from -1, 2, 3. And then what about my y value? My y value, the smallest that we see just now, is -2, 2, 2. So my graph very big. I have a lot of space to fill up. So I can maybe use 4 cm to 1 unit if I want. Okay, if I really want, I can use 4 cm to 1 unit. That means 2 big box, 2 big box, 2 big box, and 2 big box. This one is you decide. Yes, right. Although I say you decide, but it cannot be too big to the extent that you can't fit the graph inside, or too small to the extent that it's very inaccurate. It can't happen that way. You must make sure that you use the correct one. Okay, so here I see that when x is -1, okay, maybe I use a different color to plot. Red. Okay, when x is -1, my y is -2. So my first coordinate is here. Second coordinate, when my x is 0, okay, my line is not really at the center lah, so I just have to adjust it myself. Okay, when you draw the cross, okay, when you draw the cross, you must be very careful, because when you are plotting, your cross cannot be bigger than the 4 boxes they are drawing in. So what do I mean? When you're drawing, and let me show you, when you're drawing it, you make sure that your cross is like that. Okay, so this will be correct, but don't draw it like that. Okay, this will be wrong. It should be smaller than the 4 boxes you're drawing in. It cannot be too big. It cannot be too small also. Okay, so now let's continue plotting. When my x value is 1, according to what we have just now, my y is 0. When my x value is 2, my y, why I write negative? Sorry guys, let me just erase this. It's actually 1 and 2. Okay, so when my x is 2, my y is 1. When my x is 3, my y is 2. Now I'm done with this. This is called plotting. Next step is for me to join them with a line. You will use a ruler to go and join all these lines together. Okay, so I've joined them already. This is my line. Okay, so I need to see that you've got a graph that looks like this. Now once you're done with this, you need to make sure that you label the x-axis, label both the x and the y-axis, and you must label the line also. My line is y equals to x plus 1. So once you are done with this, you are done with drawing a graph. Okay, so I'm done with the first part. Example 2, please complete it. You have to do it yourself. I want to collect your work digitally to check that you have finished it also. Okay, so spend the rest of the lesson to complete the graph. Thank you.